There's a movie that comes out on our anniversary.
That's when it was time to move on to Disclosure Day. And they started that off with Coleman Domingo coming out and just basically introducing Steven Spielberg. First, they showed this big montage of Spielberg's films, which, by the way, how many did you say it was? 35. Disclosure Day is his 35th motion picture.
Insane.
And here's the thing. Like, they played Christopher Nolan's montage a little bit earlier. And you guys know how I feel about Denis Villeneuve, how I feel about Christopher Nolan and all these guys. But here's the thing. The reason why Christopher Nolan says, I cannot come out after Steven Spielberg, is because as much as I love my good Canadian kid, Denis Villeneuve, as much as I love the legend Christopher Nolan, Waterboys, total Waterboys, compared to the GOAT, to Steven Spielberg. And as they started going down the list of his films, because like with Christopher Nolan's, as great as they are, you see a lot of repeat movies they're going through because he only has so big of a filmography, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when they're doing Steven Spielberg, it's like the top 5 greatest movies from every decade for the last 5 decades.
Yeah.
And every kind of movie. Every kind of movie. And like, you're even forgetting, some of the clips come up, you're like, oh my God, yeah, I even forgot he made that one. And I forgot he made that all-time great. Oh, and that all-time great.
They use Warhorse clips really well.
Oh my God. Which, by the way, might be, well, Amistad is his most underrated film. But I mean, Warhorse might be his second most underrated film. But anyway, so like, you're just going through this thing and you're realizing, yeah, there will never be another Steven Spielberg. Just, there will never be another one. And he says, like, the only genre I haven't done is Westerns. And then he confirmed, and that is my next one.
Right.
It's like he's checking off all the boxes of I'm going to be the greatest filmmaker in every single genre that's ever been done.
I would say this. This was interesting about this montage. Music drives montages.
Yeah.
This music was not, maybe you know what it was. I didn't know what it was. It wasn't like a compilation of John Williams music. I didn't know what piece of music they used. And I kind of felt it was ineffectual for the montage. And then the montage superseded the music. Mm-hmm. And because I was waiting for the music to take me away.
That was like Nolan's.
It didn't. And then the images alone. And by the end of that montage, I have to look over at you guys. I'm like, does anyone know? Like, I was weeping, and I didn't want anyone. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm looking over at Taylor. It was amazing. That montage was amazing.
It was its own emotional journey, watching that montage. Like, you just, again, because you're talking about the guy who made Raiders. You're talking about the guy who made Jaws. You're talking about the guy who made E.T., the guy who made Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the guy who made like
Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, Minority Report, War of the Worlds. I mean, Lincoln. That Lincoln shot they used when he's riding up on the horse. Good.
Oh, by the way, another one one of his films nobody talks about, and I'm freezing on the name of it. The one he does with Tom Hanks. Well, that could be a million. The one he does with Tom Hanks.
Catch Me If You Can.
Well, but yes,
Bridge of Spies.
No, but that's another one too.
The Terminal Ray.
No, but the one I was thinking of is the one where he's the true story of where he's the newspaper editor with Meryl Streep.
The Paper.
No.
The Post.
The Post. That's what it was. That's a wicked movie. That's a really good movie, and that's one of the ones they never talk about.
No,
like his films that you forget about are better than 99% of any director's best films in their career.
David used a great shot from Always, which people also forget.
Yep. So anyway, because it was Steven Spielberg, and of course, when he comes out on stage, nobody sits in their seats. Because Spielberg comes out, and it was instant. The entire 5,000 people in that place were on their feet and stayed on their feet for a while. I feel like you need to genuflect or something when Steven Spielberg comes in the room. But anyway, so he comes out, he receives the MPA, the Motion Picture Association. They literally created an award that's going to be given out one time.
One time.
Yeah.
And this is it. And they said it's going to Steven Spielberg. So so the head of the MPA comes out, they present Steven Spielberg with this award. And then they do this really cool thing. Well, Corman Domingo comes out, and they haven't done this at CinemaCon, at least not in a long time. And they have just 2 leather chairs on the stage. And Coleman Domingo and Steven Spielberg sit down and have like a 15-minute
Talk
conversation.
about the award, though, because I thought that was really important. You know,
Well, which part? Oh,
well,
would you grab me one of my Diet Pepsi?
well, the head of the MPAA, I keep saying AA, but the head of the
for
MPAA,
so long it was the MPAA,
and he
now it's
comes
the
out
MPA.
and he says, "Look, I mean," and they've given out awards before that aren't necessarily for filmmakers, but like you said, they made this award. It is the 250th birthday of America, and they gave it to him. And what he talked about, I forget his name, but when he talked about he gave reasons for each film, whether it was politics, whether it was awe and wonder, whether it was history, whether it was, I mean, he gave a great summation of what Spielberg's done.
Yeah.
And said, this is why, and it was an American deal. He's like, this man represents, he does everything Americans love. American ingenuity, American history, American politics.
friend.
And he tied it to Americans' entire 250 year
Yeah.
because he'd done Lincoln. And I have to say, it was moving. I was moved by that speech.
And then when to kind of surmise his speech, when he goes to the point of, there will never be another Spielberg. And he's right. There will be, someday, somehow in the world of hockey, there will be the next Wayne Gretzky. There will be the next Tom Brady. There will be the next Michael Jordan or LeBron James or whatever. There will never be another Steven Spielberg. And so, and by the way, and this is all before they even got to the movie.
And by the way, while he was giving the award, Spielberg was standing off to the side.
Yeah.
And anyone who gets accolades knows that's a difficult place to be because how do you respond? And we were looking at him. I was watching him. And, you know, I could tell that there was so many emotions going through his head. And he is such a class act.
Oh, yeah. He's
Such a class act.
So then they finally decide to talk about Disclosure Day. And they're pretty nebulous in their conversation about it, but then they show footage. And some of it we've seen, some glimpses, some shots in what they did in the presentation tonight, we've seen in a couple of the trailers. But a lot of it was totally new. And it actually gave us context for the first time to the movie. And
A lot.
my best guess is that the guy from Wake Up Dead Man and Emily Blunt, because Emily Blunt, of course, they're in the trailer, she'll go, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? And then, but what's not in the trailers, then it cuts to like this government agency saying, "Have you pulled the old audio records?"
Oh my God.
Yes,
that
sir.
freaked me out.
And it's
I'm
a match.
Yeah.
Like these 30-year-old audio recordings of something, and then Emily Blunt's on TV going, and it's like, did we compare it? And yes, sir, it's a match. It's like, what the hell's going on? And then my best guess is, here's my best guess, is that Wake Up Dead Man Boy and Emily Blunt,
Josh O'Connor is what people.
Josh O'Connor, thank you, that's his name. He will forever be Wake Up Dead Man Boy. So they were either siblings or two children around the same age that were abducted by aliens. And now it's something in them is now manifesting or something along those lines. Again, I don't know, but that's kind of my best piece of it. But this looked like it works as a thriller. It looks like it works as a mystery. It looks like it definitely works as an action film. There was way more action in it than I was expecting to see.
Yeah.
So this, I don't think this is going to be $1 billion film, but I am getting quite excited about watching it myself.
Okay. There's a shot this movie with an American Air Force jet fighter in the sky approaching a gigantic triangular, let's call it a UAV, whatever you want to call it. UAP. I mean, it was awesome. And there's the ending shot was they have these reindeer or whatever, the deer, and you have a singular shot where you're looking at this deer, the camera comes around.
It zooms in on its eye. It zooms in on the deer's eye.
It turns into a gray alien. And you do see aliens at this, you know what, Lonely Island. I'm just saying.
I thought it looked great. I really
Unbelievable.
do. Anyway, Anne, you saw the footage, all the stuff they showed us for Disclosure Day. What did you think?
I don't think you know this about me, which is crazy.
You were abducted by aliens.
No.
Okay.
I do. I would always think like maybe I would be the one that they would abduct because I would always look in the sky when I was a kid. But I am a bit of a like alien, like conspiracy theorist person. And
That's why I like you.
I think the trailer made me think that Spielberg knows more about what is actually true.
He flat out said it.
He did.
He flat out said it tonight.
And he's put it in this movie. Like, I really believe.
He did say this movie is going to answer a lot of questions and raise some more for you.
Yeah. I think he has been disclosed to things that are probably real around this genre and what's happening with extraterrestrials. So I think I'm excited. The trailer was really good. It was really, really good.
I am not a UFO guy. Now, don't get me wrong on that. I absolutely believe in the vastness of the galaxy. There is life out there. Maybe even civilizations. Like 100% I believe that. 100% I believe that. But I remember I was at this conference once where like these leading science guys were the basic thing was here's why aliens have never been here. And they talk about what level of scientific advancement you would need to be at as a civilization to literally make a 17,000 light year mile journey. And they went through all the stuff about how that's actually not thermodynamically possible and all this kind of stuff. But this was the big thing for me. This one guy goes, let's move away from the science for a second, he says. And he goes, let's say they did. Let's say they have a level of science that is so far beyond our brains to even remotely comprehend. Whoopsie, they spotted us. He says, you don't think that a civilization that is that advanced, we're not talking a century beyond us, we're talking millennia beyond us, that, oh no, we didn't realize if we flew beside this plane, they'd see us through their window. And all that. And so that's always kind of been for me why I've kind of more sided on the science side of it.
Former President Obama was interviewed and they asked him if aliens are real, and he did say there is stuff. There is information. We have it.
Look, I would say this.
This movie is going to make you have this conversation.
Yeah, we by the way, John, we are looking at exoplanets. And all we know about exoplanets are what is in the atmosphere. That's all we can do in terms of how we can decide whether there might be life there. We don't know. We can't see if there's technology. We can only look at the atmosphere as it relates to what we can see. I would say that other people, other intelligences would look at the same way. They could see in our environment, our atmosphere isn't quite pure.
They're like, ooh, they're really.
They're like, we're looking for oxygen, nitrogen, and somebody's like, well, here's an atmosphere that looks a little compromised. That means there's life. And the interesting thing to me about all of this is if you look at people like Bob Lazar, who's been on Rogan, he says that what they found is archaeological, which means they might have found something that's thousands of years old. So,
Listen,
Mulder, man, I want to believe.
Oh, I get that. And listen, like I said, as somebody who does believe there is life out there somewhere, it's going to be a topic of conversation that as Steven Spielberg will always fascinate us in our movies. Absolutely. And continues to fascinate us now. But we do need to move on here.
But do you think he can make you believe?
No. No, I'll
Not even
always.
Spielberg.
I will always take the word of scientists over everything else.
Of course.
But that does not mean that things are impossible, right? So that's why it's been for so long a topic of our
But that
movies and
trailer
television.
was a banger, dude.
It was
This
a
version
banger trailer.
There are grays and there
trailer.
are
Such a
fighter
good
jets
trailer.
against- I
It
can't
tells
wait.
so much more than what
wait.
I think we've seen so
So
far.
much more.
I don't. So you didn't get to say how you felt about it, but
I mean, I was pretty hyped. I mean, I was pretty hyped going into it from what I knew. The same scene that Rob referenced earlier, when it zooms in on the pupil of the deer and then it slowly pans and the deer like is now the gray alien. I was just like, I was floored. This does feel like more like a thriller, like Campea said. There's some sort of relationship here between these two main characters, and they are onto something that they should not be onto. And there's some sort of secret shadow organization that's like desperately trying to shut this down, and they're desperately trying to get the truth.
You know what the best moment of the trailer is? When the footage of Emily Blunt making the sounds on television, and then it cuts to
Josh
Wake
O'Connor.
Up Dead Man Boy, Josh O'Connor, and he's got these scientific formulas down on paper. He goes, when she's speaking, all I hear is this.
Yeah,
That was like,
so good.
that was just such a
He's
good moment.
holding up the translation on paper.
Well, no, it wasn't
all
a translation. It was all mathematical formulas. I was
Yeah.
like,
It's math. Yeah.
it's like, what does that mean? Like, I'm just
By the
excited
way,
for the movie now.
if Josh O'Connor has a social media handle, Instagram, and he changes his handle to Wake Up Dead Man Boy, this is going to be hilarious.
All right, so anyway, that was Disclosure Day. I thought it looks fantastic. I can't wait
Agreed.
to see this thing.